Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the day's top news stories and break them down for you. I'm your host, Walter, and I'm glad you're joining us today. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Our first story takes us to the world of international diplomacy, where President Trump has been making headlines with his recent tour of the Middle East. The president's trip has been marked by lavish displays of wealth and power, including a $400 million private jet gifted to him by the Qatari government. Yes, you heard that right. $400 million. Now, we know that gifts from foreign governments to the president are not uncommon, but this one has raised some eyebrows due to its sheer value. The president has defended the gift, saying that it's a symbol of the strong relationship between the U.S. and Qatar. But others have questioned whether this gift could be seen as an attempt to influence the president's decisions. We're not here to speculate or take sides, but we do want to provide some context. The president's trip to the Middle East has been seen as an effort to strengthen ties with key allies in the region and to promote American business interests. But it's also raised concerns about the potential for conflicts of interest, given the president's personal business dealings in the region. Comedians like Stephen Colbert and Seth Meyers have had a field day with this story, poking fun at the president's love of luxury and his apparent fixation on having the biggest and best everything. But beneath the humor, there are some serious questions about the implications of this gift, and whether it could undermine the public's trust in the president's decision-making. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What do you think about the president's acceptance of this gift? Do you see it as a harmless symbol of friendship or a potential conflict of interest? Let us know on social media using the hashtag #ConcreteBlock. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the complex world of international relations and aid efforts. Today, we're focusing on the ongoing situation in Gaza and a new plan unveiled by the Trump administration to deliver aid to Palestinians in the region. As you may know, Israel has blocked all food, fuel, and medicine from entering Gaza for over 10 weeks, citing concerns that Hamas is stealing aid meant for civilians. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has been escalating, with many organizations sounding the alarm about the dire living conditions and lack of access to basic necessities. The new plan aims to address these concerns by implementing stricter controls on aid distribution, ensuring that it reaches those who need it most. However, experts are raising questions about the potential implications of this plan, worrying that it could set a bad precedent for future aid efforts. We want to hear from you. Do you think this new plan is a step in the right direction? Or does it pose more risks than benefits? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #ConcreteBlock. It's essential to consider multiple perspectives on this issue. On one hand, ensuring that aid reaches its intended recipients is crucial. On the other hand, imposing strict controls could lead to unintended consequences, such as further isolating the Palestinian population or creating more bureaucratic hurdles for aid organizations. As we explore this story, we'll be examining the potential effects of this plan on the ground and talking to experts who can provide insight into the complexities of aid efforts in Gaza. We'll also be looking at the broader context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and how it impacts the humanitarian situation in the region. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Good evening, and welcome back to the Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter Dart. As we wrap up today's show, we're going to take a closer look at a developing story in West Africa, where the country of Mali has been under military rule since back-to-back coups in 2020 and 2021. Now, according to reports from multiple sources, including Human Rights Watch and the German Konrad Adenauer Foundation, the Malian government's decision to dissolve all political parties has sparked widespread concern about the future of democracy in the country. The move has been seen as a step backwards for the West African nation, which has a long history of elected governments, albeit interrupted by military coups. The current military leader, Assimi Goïta, seized power after the 2020 and 2021 coups, promising to hold elections and restore democratic rule. However, those elections have been delayed, and the government has now taken the drastic step of shutting down all political parties. This move has left many Malians feeling frustrated and disenfranchised, with some opposition leaders even going missing. It's a complex and sensitive situation, and we want to make sure that our listeners are aware of the different perspectives at play. On one hand, the Malian government may argue that the dissolution of political parties is necessary for stability and security in a country that has faced numerous challenges from armed militia groups and jihadist attacks. On the other hand, many ordinary Malians and international observers see this move as a clear threat to democracy and human rights. As we try to make sense of these developments, it's essential to remember that the situation on the ground is fluid and multifaceted. We've spoken to experts from organizations like Chatham House and the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, who stress that the Malian government's actions are not only a setback for democracy, but also undermine the trust and confidence of the international community. As we close out today's show, we want to emphasize the importance of staying informed about global events like these. The situation in Mali is a reminder that democracy and human rights are fragile and require constant vigilance and support. We urge our listeners to stay engaged and to follow developments in this story as they unfold. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.